one of the problems that libertarians have is that reality exists. And very often, reality existing completely negates their entire political philosophy or religion. And so often they'll attempt to get out ahead of reality and try and refute reality and the ability of people to add, I don't even know if this is 2 plus 2. This is 1 plus 1. And in this case, we have Ron Paul writing at the Ron Paul Institute for Peace and Prosperity a piece entitled "Liberty, Not Government, is Key to Containing Ebola." Liberty is not the name of a medical device, ladies and gentlemen. It is not the name of a new drug. It is just liberty. It's no coincidence that many of those countries suffering from mass Ebola outbreaks have also suffered from the plagues of dictatorship and war. True. The devastation wrought by years of war has made it impossible for these countries to develop modern healthcare infrastructure. Now, it's not just the war. It is the absence of any type of central government to bring stability, to develop basic hygienic infrastructure like we have in this country. You'll recall that it's like cities that build sewers and city government and federal funding, which provides things like electricity and, well, some instances, money to have things like indoor plumbing, and that happened a long time ago. And of course, also developing emergency protocols. Sometimes they don't even have the funding to do that properly. But, for example, the 14-year civil war in Liberia that left the country with almost no trained doctors. Now, I don't know that it was just the civil war itself in Liberia that left it with no trained doctors. It was the absence of institutions to train doctors. President Obama's response to the Ebola crisis has been to send 3,000 troops to West African countries to help with treatment and containment. Not just 3,000 troops, but let's let him continue. The people of Liberia and other countries would be better off if the U.S. government left them alone. Leave it to private citizens to invest in African businesses and trade with the African people. Private investment and trade would help these countries develop thriving free market economies capable of sustaining a modern healthcare infrastructure. Now, here's the question that Ron Paul ignores. What is it about the United States now, in this emergency situation that is obviously going on in West Africa, in sending troops and medical facilities, new beds, whatnot, that is preventing private investment from doing so? Are there really private investors going like, if the U.S. had not sent those troops and had not sent in those extra beds, I'd be out there right now raising angel investor money?
Yeah, we would. Call off the conference call. Forget it.
Let's go back to that idea. We had the Uber for medical emergencies, and now we can't fund it because the government, U.S. government is coming. Then he goes on to write, legitimate concerns about protecting airline passengers from those with Ebola or other infectious diseases can best be addressed by returning responsibility for passenger safety to the airlines. After all, private airlines have a greater incentive than does government to protect their passengers from contagious diseases.
The people who don't even stock up on minute bags of pretzels for freaking for food on flights They're going to be like, no, actually, Ebola, we take that really seriously. Oh, you want an Ebola screening? That's going to be a $150 surcharge before you get on the flight, sir.
They can do so while providing a safe means of travel for those seeking medical treatment in the United States. So apparently they'd have special Ebola-only flights.
You know what's a great untapped market? Africans with Ebola fleeing to get medical treatment in the United States. Those people are flushed. Why don't we get a direct service for them? There's a huge market opportunity in that.
What we could also do is pair up some of our flight attendants who have Ebola. This would remove the incentive to lie about exposure to the virus among those seeking to come here for treatment. So let me see if I can get this straight. So they set up their special flights for Ebola victims. And presumably they're going to pay a massive premium because they get so much expendable wealth, right?
Well, the irony of Liberia is that despite civil war and a collapsed economy, a lot of sort of average Liberians, they just have a massive disposable income because I don't know why.
Right, because... And then, and Ron Paul doesn't answer again, what is the U.S. government doing right now that prevents these airlines from providing passenger safety?
Doing something, Sam. Again, free markets, freedom, liberty. Hello.
I mean, honestly, like,
you just get serious?
Is there some argument? I mean, maybe it's the case, but
the
I
other
find
thing
it
to add is that
very
the Jews
hard
are
to
involved
believe
too, and their problem as well. I'm not ready for president anymore. I'm just tired of those Jews.
I find it hard to believe that there's U.S. regulations that prevent the airlines from saying, like, here's a thermometer.
Well, I mean, that's all documented. Thermometers are under control of the government. And you see, some people just don't know that. Probably the black people don't know that because they're less educated. The Jews do know that, but they're sneaky and wily like Sam Seder is a terrible human being.
But why should those... and then they're talking about how the FDA has now given permission for the use of unapproved drugs to Ebola patients. But he writes, but why should those suffering from potentially lethal diseases have to seek special permission from federal bureaucrats to use treatments their physicians think might help? And does anyone doubt? And does anyone doubt? Well, I can give one answer, okay? For the same reason that we know, I was just down at that tort lawyer conference. We know that when the FDA does not have the regulatory or the statutory ability to regulate certain drugs, or have the resources to actually do trials that are not provided by drug manufacturers, you get a lot of people who die, and you get a lot of charlatans. I mean, the idea that we see on a daily basis drugs marketed for things that, for problems that, despite the fact that they don't work.
My friend Alex Jones has a great anti-Ebola formula. And people could just get super anti-Ebola vitality. I mean, you just be saving lives just literally left and right. I mean, I don't know if it would work on Jewish people's systems in the same way because they have a different DNA, but it's worth a try.
And does anyone doubt, he writes, does anyone doubt that the FDA's cumbersome approval process has slowed down the development of treatments for Ebola? I would say yes. Many people doubt that. In fact, I haven't heard from one manufacturer who said, well, the reason why we don't have an Ebola treatment right now is because of the FDA, as opposed to the fact that, like, we just didn't see any money in it.
Same reason we don't have those special Liberia flights. Government.
Government.
Yeah, government. That's what's blocking it, see?
And then, to make his case that private intervention would be far more successful than, I guess, our response to what's happening in West Africa, he says Firestone Tire and Rubber Company has successfully contained the spread of Ebola among 80,000 people living in Harbel, the Liberian town housing employees of Firestone's Liberian plant and their families. In March, after the wife of a Firestone employee developed Ebola symptoms, Firestone constructed its own treatment center and implemented a program of quarantine and treatment. Firestone has successfully kept the Ebola virus from spreading among its employees. As of this writing, there are only 3 Ebola patients at Firestone's treatment facility. Okay, so assuming that we don't have all of these massive corporations that can set this up for their employees, assuming that many of the people who get Ebola don't work for a massive corporation, maybe they're I don't know, their general store doesn't have the resources to build something like this. What is Ron Paul's answer? And seeing as how Firestone doesn't seem to be in any way inhibited from doing what they're doing because the U.S. sent 3,000 troops to help the rest of those people, what's the problem here?
My answer would be Liberty. And the second thing is you probably own Firestone stock, don't you? You Jew with your big portfolio and everything else. I'm just tired of people just trying to take away freedom. I mean, if the soldiers weren't there from the U.S. government, then that general store could probably build a modern health facility that would treat all of Liberia, but this interference from government blocks liberty and freedom.
Let's read his final paragraph, because that's more or less what he seems to argue. Firestone's success in containing Ebola shows that far from justifying new state action, the Ebola crisis demonstrates that individuals acting in the free market can do a better job of containing Ebola than can governments. This is just absurd. The Ebola crisis is another example of how U.S. foreign aid now harms the very people we are claiming to help.
Why don't we get in the Ebola business? Maybe we can help us with the move. Apparently, there's a lot of on-top market opportunities there.
I'm coming up with an Uber for Ebola patients who want to take a car ride. You see, had that existed and you didn't have these publicly sanctioned licensed taxi cabs, then maybe this guy Duncan wouldn't have contracted it.
I know a company that want to build a hovercraft, just like you've seen in, in Spaceballs or Back to the Future, whatever have you. And they fly all over. They can drop medicine. You do it at a premium. And it's just, it's the market. It's freedom. But, as long as we have these government bureaucrats and debt and a currency that's not real, you're not going to have hoverboards. And I think more and more people, I go to college campuses. Those kids love hoverboards and freedom. But
let's go to
don't like the Jews
the
very
phones.
much either.